You see my symbol?
Yeah,
Oh.
we see the Justice Beat symbol.
Got you. Hold on.
So it now says meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. Top left, everybody should see the live.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to season 6 of the Justice Beat Talk Show. We are so ecstatic to have you back with us. I know you may have missed us because normally we have 2 seasons a year, but we're going to start off with 1 season during Black History Month, and we're very excited that you're here with us. This morning, we have our special guest, Raqueal Pullums with Readi Chicago. Welcome, Raqueal.
Thank you, everyone. Well,
Nice
glad to be here. Glad to be
here. Yes. Thank you so much. And I want to introduce 2 other people, a part of our production team. Quanda Stevenson is our guest host for this morning. She will be conducting the interviews. She is a social justice practicum student with Adler University, who is also serving in the role of team lead and production team member. This morning, we also have joining us Karen Sutton, licensed clinical social worker, and she is the owner and proprietor of Brighter Futures Now in Atlanta, Georgia. She is our clinical show consultant. Welcome, ladies.
Hello, everybody. Again, I am Quanda, and I just want to thank everybody for being here this morning. Thank you, Miss Raqueal, for jumping in and saving my life.
Yeah, she called me. She called me on Friday and said, Miss Elaine, look, this guy did not confirm. I got to get somebody, and said, girl, handle it. And she told me
I was stressing.
Yes.
Yeah, no worries.
You came through and I was like, yes.
That's okay. Thank you for thinking about me. I appreciate that opportunity.
No problem.
All right, I'm going to let Quanda begin her interview, and I'm going to sneak away and interact with some of the engagement going on social media. I'll be back later.
Thanks.
So first, I want to start simply by you letting everybody know what organization you are from and what a little bit about, I'm not going to say the name, I'm going to let you say that, but a little bit about your organization.
Okay. Yeah, well, again, I'm Raqueal Pullums. I am the program manager for Ready for Reentry with Heartland Alliance in Chicago, Illinois. And we have, in 2017, we launched a program called Readi Chicago. Readi is an acronym, READI, which stands for Rapid Employment and Development Initiative. And so we launched the program again back in 2017 as a response to a lot of the violence that was going on at that time. And so what we do at Readi is offer cognitive behavioral interventions, as well as transitional jobs, and then case management too, which is like one-on-one, help them plan for their goals and, you know, whatever careers that they are trying to get into. And so what who we work with is we work with people, and men, I should say. We only work with men, but we work with men who are at the highest risk for gun violence involvement. And so we target that population in certain neighborhoods in Chicago because the neighborhoods produce the most violence. So we work in Inglewood, we work in North Lawndale, Austin, and West Garfield. So Readi Chicago is intentional about providing services in those communities that lack investment and opportunities, and so that we can, again, help to curb the violence. That's our mission, is to decrease violence. And so we work with the men for a year, again, helping them not only understand, build some skills so that they can slow down their thinking and be able to respond more appropriately to situations. But we also give them, offer them transitional jobs where they can get some work experience. A lot of our participants never had a job before. They never seen, understand the system of clocking in and, showing up at a certain time, getting off at a certain time, having a lunch break. So we prepared them during that 12 months to go into, whatever career that they want to go into. And so we expose them to a lot of different things. And then, so I was working with Readi Chicago when it first started as a job coach supervisor. And so my role was pretty much to manage job coaches who would deliver the cognitive behavior intervention, or we call it CAD. And do like the wraparound case management work. And so we had a team of individuals who will provide that support. But I end up going to Ready for Reentry, which is a spinoff to, I like to say it's like a spinoff to Ready Chicago.
Okay.
So if you ever had like a TV show or something like that, and then one of the characters got like a spinoff, that's how I kind of like to give people like the analogy of what it is, right? So it's a little bit different, but it kind of has the same principles and foundation that Ready Chicago set in 2017. So Ready for Reentry launched in 2021, in April of 2021 to be exact. And so what it is doing the same work with the same population, trying to, target those high-risk individuals. But we, instead of waiting for them to come back home to those communities that I mentioned, we go into IDOC, which is Illinois Department of Corrections. And
okay.
So we go into 2 prisons right now, which is Danville Correctional Center and Stateville Correctional Center.
Oh.
And so our program, Ready for Reentry, is also a 12-month program. 6 months is pre-release services. So that means while the participants are still incarcerated, we're offering them the same elements that Ready Chicago has, which is that mainly that cognitive behavior intervention, job readiness, and like one-on-one case management.
Okay, so Ready Chicago basically catches them, I'm going to say it a little loosely, but catches them before they become incarcerated. And then the reentry program pretty much gets a hold of them once they are incarcerated right before release.
Not quite. So
Okay.
Ready Chicago, we don't catch them. We only work with those 18 and up. And so pretty much all of our participants have criminal records. So it's not like that. It's where it's like we're trying to deter them from even going down that path. A lot of our participants already went down that path, and they're now seeking to do something different. And so we want to, if they're ready, we want to help them. And some people are not ready, but we're going to motivate them to take those gradual steps to be ready. So it's not that we want to catch them before in Ready Chicago, but it is while they are free from a correctional type of system. Yeah.
Okay. So that definitely makes a lot of sense. Now, can you kind of just tell me, like, how does a person become in contact with you guys? Like, how do they say, I want this help, I want to be, a part of this, I would love this?
Yeah, so I'm gonna explain that with Ready Chicago and Ready for Reentry. So I'll start with Ready Chicago. So Ready Chicago, a lot of our participants, our participants don't come to us, we come to them. So it's a little different than most programs where participants are going to their door and wanting to sign up for something. We have outreach workers in those different communities where they go out and pretty much scour the neighborhood for certain individuals that, which we have a list of names, either from personal relationships. So our outreach workers are in those communities and they know, who the hitters are, right? And so they know who can use this type of program and this support. So that's one pathway. And so that's like a community referral. Like, this guy needs some help, right? And then we have another pathway, which is a reentry pathway. And that is pretty much individuals coming from maybe Cook County or which is the jail, as well as maybe their parole officers referred them or something like that. So that's another pathway into Ready Chicago. And then the third pathway is we work with the University of Chicago's crime lab, and the crime lab pretty much has some data from whether police records, shooting records, hospital records, whatever. They get all this information, and then they give us a list like, hey, here's some guys who you should target, right? And so our outreach workers take that information and they go out and find them, and they knock on the door and like, hey, and participants like, who are you, right? And so and our outreach workers get them. They, let them know what we're all about and let them know that we're there to support them. It doesn't sometimes happen like right away. They say yes. Sometimes it takes them a while to, that relationship to build for them. They're like, okay, man, I'll go ahead and try it, right?
We got to get them outreach workers, like hand clap, shout out, all of that, because that is
to the outreach workers.
Crazy. Yes. Like the boots on the ground part, getting out here and finding them and like pulling them, like, let's go. We doing our part. And I love them for that.
The outreaches are everywhere. They meeting them at their house, they meeting them on the block, they meeting them on the,
I love it. I
office.
love
So
it.
they go beyond the duty when it comes to like making sure that they are reaching again those high risk participants.
Yep. That's combating all them barriers of, oh,
yeah,
I take it. Oh, I
Yep.
need a way there. Oh, I don't, not really willing to step out of their own like communal area.
yeah.
That's everything.
Yep. So outreach workers are a big part of how we do what we do, right? And then I want to switch to Ready for Reentry. So Ready for Reentry, our participants, we have again a criteria who we're looking for with Ready for Reentry that's in the prisons. And so IDOC kind of helps us, shift through those participants that are in their facility. So we have, we look for people at a certain age range, certain actual criminal offenses that they've committed. So it's that particular, high risk population that we give IDOC, and then they pretty much say, okay, here's the guys you're looking for. And then we'll talk to them. And then if they want to join, then they'll join.
I love that. Once again, I just got to say thank y'all for that, because that is something else. But I really want to know, like, what's your opinion? So it's been a lot of laws that has been added and changed in regards to like the recidivism and how they're trying to make the population a little bit more, what's the word I can use? To make the jail population just a little bit more where they're actually getting something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, like, what's your opinion on recidivism, and what role does like Readi Chicago play in the reentry program, and how does that connect to that communal involvement that they're saying is a big issue right now?
Yeah. So recidivism, that's not only, again, are we trying to decrease violence, but we also are trying to, reduce recidivism and offer pathways to, sustainability for our participants, right? And stability. So I guess my opinion on recidivism is that it's going to take more than a Readi Chicago to come in, right? It really takes more effort, whether that's from the state, people in the neighborhood, and programs like us. It really takes a lot in order to decrease recidivism. And so we offer one part of that, right? And to try to help them, change their thinking processes so they won't react and respond the same way. And, hopefully that will change the situations that they, or the outcomes that they find themselves in. But it takes a lot of effort. It takes intentionality, reform. It takes people at the legal, political system in order to really look at the laws, look at the policy work in order to, reduce some of the barriers where our participants and just the reentry population in general find themselves in. I'm trying to think, what else did you ask me? I know you said something about recidivism, and then I know you said something about like what role, I believe.
So they make a big deal about how like community involvement and making sure that they are able to like re-enter into society. So I was just trying to get like a better idea on how Readi Chicago basically helped them do that re-entry process.
Yeah. So we're ready for reentry, and I speak to Ready for Reentry. So we're ready for reentry. I guess we're intentional about reentry case planning. So a lot of participants, and how we even started was because we noticed there was a gap. A lot of participants, or not even participants, but individuals coming home from prison stated that they didn't get the proper support they needed. They didn't have a good plan in place in order to really help them get to the next level, or, pretty much not turn that back on. I'm trying to think of a better word, but, leave that, that lifestyle that they were in. And so we really are intentional about planning during that 6 months, even though we wish we can start before the 6 months, right? But because it takes years sometimes for people to really change deep and heal from deep wounds and trauma, right? And so, but we got them for that 6 months. So we're going to utilize that 6 months. We're going to help plan for like housing. We go beyond just talking with our participants. We reach out to their families and what support do you need? Because our participants are coming home to you. And I know, you know, again, they're coming home to certain neighborhoods, and unfortunately, those neighborhoods are not invested in. They don't have the resources and support or employment opportunities or even education, proper educational, you know, facilities or schools, right? Or underfunded schools, I should say. And so we reach out beyond the participants, like planning, what do you need? What's going to help you become, you know, reduce some barriers, whether that's, okay, let's just get your state ID, you know, little things like that, because of course you can't really go into a job without proper documentation. Right. And so we really want to make sure that we try to capture as much information or reduce the anxiety of like, okay, now what for our participants, they kind of know like, hey, here we are, here's what we plan to do this for employment. We plan to do this for housing, for transportation, how you going to get home from prison, how you going to get around when you're in the city. If there are safety areas that you are concerned about, let's try to, you know, create safety plans so you won't have to get into, you know, any violence where you are, you know, back home. So we really like try to look at all of the whole landscape and provide that support, and then do the same for the families.
That is like really great. Like I've never heard of this program and all of the services that they provide. However, being a person who has been a part of these communities, who have been a part of just the whole incarceration project, seeing my family members that are close to me go in and come out, and hearing some of the complaints. And like personally, my father was like in and out as I was growing up, in and out. And as I got older, I started hitting with questions like, okay, you know, why do this keep happening? Like, what is going on? And a lot of the issues that he stated that he was having, you literally just name services that are assisting with those same issues. So knowing that it's now help out there, it means a lot to me. And I still want to thank you guys again. But Karen has a question, and I want to let her come in and ask you really quick, and then I'll come back in and ask some more, because I'm in love with this right now.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much, Quanda, for letting me jump in. And Ms. Pullums, you know, I got a chance to review the Heartland Alliance website, and you know, it was really interesting to see the section about the cognitive behavioral interventions. And so I was wondering if you could just share a little insight about what it's like trying to work with the particular reentry population in terms of helping them understand how their thoughts have a controlling influence on their emotions and their feelings, and then how that then ultimately impacts, you know, their behavior and their actions. I'm just wondering, are there certain approaches that work best, and what has been the response of the population to looking at these things that maybe they may not have previously considered?
Sure, thank you for that question. So, you know, it's a funny thing with cognitive behavior intervention. And we say interventions intentionally because a lot of our staff, they're not actually therapists. So we don't want to use cognitive behavior therapy as the mode for the language. But even beyond that, earlier I mentioned we call it CAD in Readi, right? And CAD stands for Control Alt Delete. And it goes back to, you know, the narrative in our communities, or the stigma with this population and in these communities around therapy and needing help and what's wrong with you type of, you know, mindset, right? And so back with Readi Chicago, maybe back in 2018, I think is when we stopped saying CBT and going to CAD. And so again, CAD is controlling your thoughts, alternating some of the decisions and alternating some of the things that you do, and which will delete like the outcomes, right? And so it's really like a play on words, because you think about Control Alt Delete on a computer, it's kind of like rebooting, right? And so we want to reboot our participants to live a better lifestyle, to live a healthier lifestyle, and to try something different. And so we call it CAD. Our participants are really receptive to it. Like they want to be in those CAD groups, right? And they speak so much. So, you know, we have a curriculum. Oh, let me say that. Okay, so yeah, let me go back. So at first, when we first started, we were looking for curriculums out there. again, because this is something that's new. It hasn't been done before. So with this particular population, and we really couldn't find anything. So we had to use what we best, what was out there. So we were using that, but our participants didn't really, and even our staff, we really didn't see I wouldn't say the benefits, but we really didn't have the relatability that with our guys coming in a inner city Chicago, and so we just actually what is it, 2023? So last year is when we created our own cognitive. So we actually have a trauma-informed cognitive behavioral interventions curriculum that Readi created. And so the analogies, the examples, our guys, they see themselves when we're facilitating, they see how they can do this, right? And so it gives them that motivation, like, okay, I see that example. I see myself in that example. I can do that. I can change, right? And so our participants really buy into changing, right? And so it's all about slowing down their, as you know, you're a clinician, so it's all about slowing down their thinking, right? Because a lot of participants and people in general, they're impulsive. They make decisions based on the little information in that short period of time that they have, and they act on it. And unfortunately, with our participants, it comes with a lot of consequences, right? And negative consequences. So we are trying to help our guys understanding that there's more options on the table if you just slow down and you look and see, and then look at the consequences, really do that pros and cons balance, right? Literally weigh out, like, if you were to do this, because that is your choice, but here's the consequences to that, and then not only, okay, that's the consequence, but then look at your goals, look at what you said you wanted. How does that conflict, right? And so how does you making this decision affect this goal, right? And so really trying to use that space to help them see all the things, put it all on the wall, right? And so from there, they gradually end up making better decisions, and we're proud. So yeah, we're happy. Yeah, that's our job. So that's what we want to do.
I get that. I love the idea of just like putting them right in front of them and like making them understand every action has a reaction, all of the consequences, even whether they're good or bad. Just understand, like, this is what you will get from that. What you're giving in is what you're getting out. So I love that idea. And I want to know, how exactly would a person be able to come in and help, volunteer, become part of Readi Chicago, or even Ready for Reentry? Look, I know they can go and find like an application and apply, but how do they actually give their direct support to all of the participants?
Yeah, so let me start with Ready for Reentry first. So right now, again, we just launched in almost a year ago. And so a lot of what we're looking for right now is mentors. A lot of our participants coming home not only need someone that's going to help with employment, someone's going to help with, like, connecting the resources. We need someone who's going to be there to pick up the phone and say, hey, me and my girlfriend are into it, and I don't want to, I don't want to escalate this, so I don't really know how to respond to this situation, or I'm sitting on the porch and I need some support, right? Or some people, I've been applying, I've been, trying to stay focused, but I keep hearing no, like I'm being discouraged, and I'm, one step maybe from going back to another lifestyle. It's like, how can someone step in to just give them some words of wisdom, advice, and support that allows them to keep going? Like, that encouragement is so necessary. So if we have, and in particular, it's for men. A lot of our participants, you hear from their mamas, their sister, we get that support from the women, but we need more men who want to help change this new generation of men coming behind them. Like, we need those volunteers. So that's what we're looking for now. We call them peer leaders, interns, or peer support, like volunteers. And so yeah, you can get my contact information if you're in the Chicago area, or some people that just want to give their time.
Let everybody know your contact info so they will know where to reach out. If y'all know specifically some men who are willing to help, send them all Miss Pullums info. She finna let you know, because we need it. We need it. I don't know how many times I can say it. We need it.
Yep. So you can reach me at RP as in Paul, ULLU, M as in Mary, S as in Sam at heartlandalliance.org. And again, that's RPULLUMS at heartlandalliance.org. So that's my email. You can feel free to, hey, I got this guy, even if it's workforce opportunities. Hey, I own this, a truck and I just, or some sort of, I want to show them how to paint. Like, this is a skill that's that they can use to, because we want them to earn money, but we want them to earn it in a pro-social way, in a legal way. So it's like, hey, you got this skill, show someone else how to use that skill, teach someone else. And if they can teach our guys in order to create pathways for them to be employed, and that's so necessary. And we really need that support. And that's what Readi Chicago too.
I love it. Okay, so I know you stated that like Ready for Reentry specifically started about a year ago. And I wanted to just get your take and simply just know, like, what do you think, not even just Ready for Reentry or Ready for Chicago, but any organization, any common people like us regular people, what do you think we can do to improve this process and make sure that like it continues to grow and we continue to grab all of the people who need it?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it so of course it takes money. Ain't gonna lie, right? So
it's always
money
talks,
right? Money talks, and money is something that we look for grants. We have private funding as well, but it's never enough. You can never reach. So it's, again, we're only one small program, but it's so many others that can benefit. But funding is a part of it, right? And so if you are able to give, whether that's or help us even find like grants, like someone, for example, her church had she was like, I can't give, but my church has this thing, this grant. It's small, but hey, it's something, right? And it was like $1,500 or something. So that $1,500 can help a family, help one of our participants. So it's like little things like that. Of course, we don't know all. We can't, we don't know everything that's out there. So if you have the passion for this population to help, and even not this population, for the community in general, because they're coming home to you, they're gonna be your next door neighbor. So you should want to help, right?
So true.
And so if you have those connections and those resources, share them with us, because that is very vital to how we continue. And if it's not money, your time, again, I can't speak that to your time. We have so many participants and even their children who needs positive, influential people in their life, and someone that can show them a different version of themselves, right? Even someone who maybe have turned their life around, that's really powerful. So like, hey, I've been through the system, I know the barriers and the struggles that you've been through. Here's how I did it, and I want to help you get there. All right, it's just certain things that sometimes people that haven't had those experiences can't understand and won't understand. So if you've changed their life around, and that, again, those are others out there that's struggling, trying to change their life around, please volunteer your services and your time, and just come even speak with our participants. So we offer that as well for people to come and speak, just to give them like some sort of example of like, hey, it's possible. Because sometimes our participants don't even think it's possible, and they're gonna die before they even get to that age. So it's like, whatever. So yeah.
That is the sad truth.
Yeah.
But even just now you were just talking about like someone coming out and sharing their success and telling how they turned their life around. Can you give us just a quick success story, one that you know a little bit about, probably was involved in?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna say, we have so many. Let me see. Okay.
Ooh.
Let me go to Readi Chicago. I'm gonna go to okay, so we have a participant that started way back in 2017 when I started, when we first launched, who came in, again, not trusting the system or programs, because you always hear participants are like, oh, you're just another program that's gonna come in here and try to help, but you're not really gonna help. You know what I mean? And so a lot of people are just weary of systems and programs, right? Their motive, right? And so we really just came in with, with a clear motive, transparent, understand we didn't have it all together because we just launched, but we're gonna try to work through it. And so building that relationship with him. So I'll say, I'll just call him Didi on here. And so building that relationship with him, he was very resistant. He wasn't resistant in a combative way, but he was just like slow to speak, slow to engage. And so, we were consistent with like showing up every day, like, hey, you here, we here. What we gonna do, right? You gonna talk, we gonna do this together. So, but eventually he started to open up more and more until eventually he started to become like a little peer leader amongst the group at that time. And so he was like, and then even for participants that came after him, they were like, okay, go to D or go to him, and he'll be able to like, hey, look, shorty, this is what to do or whatever. Like he would just, and we would just sit back and like, wow, can you believe this? Like he wasn't talking to us a couple months ago. But so he just really became, and it's so beautiful because he really within that year shifted his whole way of being, right? He was, just one of them guys, and then he just completely had stepped out on faith and like built a rapport and trust with us where he started on to mentor our other participants. Even after he left the program, he comes back and speaks. So he's one of those guys that comes back and speaks to the groups and let them know like, hey, trust them, y'all. I did it. They good people, because sometimes you need people to vouch for you, like they good people. And so he just called me, I would say about 2 months ago, because we were working. So with him, we were working with his license because he had his revoked license and he really wanted to do CDL. So during that year, we will be working, trying to understand, the process to get your license back and really helping him understand that process and walk with him through that process. And so by the end of him working with us, he actually got his driver's license back. He was applying, he was in CDL school. And so he's now driving trucks. And so he was like, can you believe it? Back in 2017, I had this goal. Now I'm driving my trucks and all this little stuff. And I was just like, I know it's crazy because it seemed like it was just yesterday, but now you truck driver out there getting money, give me some money. I was just like, so it's like, I'm like very, very proud of him. And he's an awesome person too. And a perfect example of like what change can be if you if you allow someone to come in and like really offer support and accept the help, because our participants are kind of resistant to accepting help as well.
Well, look, go D, because I love it hearing that wall come down, and that is like super important, and that consistency and knowing that like y'all was able to give that, because a lot of these people have not experienced that, someone being consistent with them and telling them like, look, being honest, however we got to show up, we gonna show up. I'm here, I'm with you, I'm rolling. And like that is an intricate part of them being able to say, I can do it myself. I'm here for me. Just knowing that they got somebody, if I fall, they're gonna come in and help. I don't gotta fall alone.
Yeah, and that's a big part of, I'm happy that you mentioned that, because that's also a big part of our program. And our values is to relentless engagement. We say relentless engagement because again, we're working with people who are gonna mess up. They gonna, hey, get logged back up again in our process of working with them. But when they get out, we right there and we at the court, like advocating for them, like, hey, he's in our care. We're gonna take care of him to the judge and stuff like that, right? So it's really about like not only just saying, oh, you messed up, we done with you type thing. We don't have that type of mindset. So we really are there through it all.
I love that. I love that. And I done gave y'all like so many praises and kudos, but I gotta give it again because this is everything. Like I've seen this type of mindset, I've seen this type of actions firsthand. And so knowing that it's something out there that's willing to come in and just attempt to even combat it is everything. I do know that our executive producer should be coming back in. However, I wanted to open it up to you and see if there was anything that you wanted to say, anything you felt got a little left out, in little midpoints.
Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to think of anything that I could say. just support. Like I said, even if it's not support, we're Ready for Reentry or Ready Chicago. You can support us by advocating to your politicians, to your, I don't know if y'all do aldermen and stuff there, but
Mhm.
going to your alderman, letting them know like, hey, this program is trying to do this. We support that program, right? Little things like that makes a big difference in how far we can go and how much reach we can get, right, into our people. And so, investing in your communities, investing in these communities will help not only, again, this particular family or this particular participant, but it helps the entire city. And so if you can offer time, support, money, advocacy, it all helps.
Okay. I see Karen's hand. So Karen, I'm gonna let you come in and ask what you want to ask.
Thank you so much, Kwanda. I appreciate it. Ms. Pullums, I heard you mention a few minutes ago about the sort of like what you call like the recovery process. And could you just speak a little bit more about the value of approaching this for people in terms of understanding that just like maybe with substance or other things, there are relapses. People fall short in the value of looking at this program as a full recovery process. If you could you speak to that just briefly, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So thank you. Like I mentioned, we have relentless engagement. We know that, again, we're working with participants, we're working with people in general. People are humans, so they're going to make mistakes. And unfortunately, a lot of programs, traditionally, if you're in a program and you do something, then they're kind of kicked out of that program, right? And so you'll hear or you'll see people are program hopping. So they'll just go to program to program and program to program, because either they get kicked out or they don't, successfully complete all of the qualifications, maybe for not qualifications, but I guess expectations for that program. But we're ready. We have expectations, of course, and we go through that in the beginning, but at the same time, we're trauma informed. I think that's the biggest piece, because if you don't understand someone's trauma and how those their decisions, like how they act and respond, affects, you really won't understand. You'll think that he's just blowing up, like, what's wrong with him? He's snapping on us today, or it's like, no, you really have to understand like where that's coming from. And so we do a lot of work with staff to understand like trauma, understand like, okay, to check your own biases, check your own triggers, and, and kind of be mindful about, language, and mindful about just how you respond and act. And so it's really, really helped us, again, get that buy-in from participants and understand how to successfully work with an individual who's experienced so much trauma in their life, and some of them will be unbelievable, and so it's really, I think, that mind frame with us and how we're so successful, because we understand what that looks like, and then we have a plan to like appropriately respond to it. I think that answered your question, but let me know if you, okay, I'm sorry.
No, you did a great job. That was it, because a lot of time that is what's missing. Sometimes we're so heavy-handed with this particular population that we're not as beneficial as we could be. So thank you for the elaboration. And I'm going to be quiet now because I think Kwanda has something. It's time to move on, but thank you.
No, you're fine. Actually, what I'm about to do is opening up to see if we get some questions and everything from our live segment. And I'm gonna let Miss Elaine talk to you about that.
Hey, welcome. Hey, you all, I've been watching online and we're getting a lot of questions. I want to bring to the forefront Farzana, as well as Erica and Lainey. They are going to provide us with questions that may be coming up on our social media platforms. And I'm going to start with Farzana. Welcome, team. This is our social media team. They monitor our social media pages during the live show.
So I was keeping up with Instagram. As of yet, I don't see any questions, but
Okay.
if you come in, I'll let you know.
Okay, great. Thank you, Farzana. Lainey?
Yeah.
Or Erica?
I don't have any questions right now.
Okay.
I was on Facebook and there was lots of questions on there.
Okay.
Okay, so One of the questions was, how can we encourage or engage more male volunteers?
Hmm. That is a good question. Yeah, that's something that we're still, are figuring out. Of course, you always have incentive-based things that you can do, right? But again, our budget, we have a budget, but it's not that big where we can offer incentives. So we're really looking for who just wants to do this just because they want to do it, right? And so that's the hard part. It's like sometimes it's just this business. Everybody's busy. We understand, and so outside of incentives to, maybe even that's dinner, because food definitely can bring people in, bring people together. Like, hey, we got this, we'll provide dinner, or something like that if you come and speak, or if y'all come in, come to, got this like organized time where you can come and meet people and just kind of share your advice and stuff like that. Food is always helpful. So I'm thinking like just food. If you do have money to do incentives, like, hey, some like little gift cards or stipends that, like, hey, thank you for your time or appreciation, that always helps. Yeah, and then sometimes just recognition, like just shouting out there, having them listed and maybe acknowledging them, acknowledging them out loud is sometimes enough for some people. Just, when we have events or whatever, things like this, just saying thank you to those who has helped.
Good.
But I would love
Yeah.
to learn more if y'all have any out there, suggestions.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. There's several other questions, so we'll see what we have time to get through. But one of the other ones that a couple people asked in different ways was wanting to know stats of the program, like statistics around success, and what does that look like for you all?
Yeah, so we at Readi Chicago, I'll say Readi Chicago just because, again, Ready for Reentry just started, and so we are now about to go into get an evaluator to evaluate our program. But Readi Chicago has already had our program evaluated through the University of Chicago. So we have some stats here. Now let me pull up because I don't know them off the top of my head, but I can definitely go find it and share them with you. And so, again, a lot of our participants, they're going to be at the highest risk for gun violence, right? And so keeping that in mind, our participants are 45 times more likely on an average Chicagoan to experience some sort of violence, and it's particularly gun violence, right? 98% have been arrested, like I said before, like they got passed, right? 80% have been victims of violence themselves, so have been shot. 83% of their family members have been victims of violence as well. And so we, understand again that trauma. So far we've helped over 871 participants get attached to some sort of transitional job. So that's what I was saying earlier, like connecting them to jobs where they can gain some skills and help build their resume, because again, sometimes they don't have nothing to put on their resume, so we're helping them with that. So we've helped over almost 900 individuals with that. Let's see, we've also have let me see something that'd be good for you all to share. We have invested over $36 million into those communities. So that's a lot of money over the last, since 2017, that we've invested in those communities, and the partnerships that we have in those different communities. Let's see, we also have paid $9 million directly to our participants, right, through employment, like wages, because when they are in those transitional jobs, we pay them, right? We understand that people need money to survive. They're gonna find it some way. So we want to, again, if they're with us, we want to help them again earn a living wage. So we have paid over $9 million so far to participants through wages and stipends. And they receive, I didn't say this earlier, they also get stipends for coming to cognitive behavioral intervention groups. And so they get a gift card that they get for their attendance and participation. I'm trying to see as far as any other stats out there that since 2017, we have seen 79% fewer shootings within our population. So that is something definitely to to not even pat ourselves on the back, but just give a round of applause to, because man, it's like, again, if you know Chicago, and then a lot of the media is out there. I know you all are in St. Louis, but it's not that far from Chicago. So I know y'all done heard of all the violence that's happening. So we have seen a reduction in violence. I'm sorry, not violence, but shootings and homicides within that population. And then let me see. Yeah, and that's something that I guess if I hope that's enough stats. If there again, if anyone wants to know more, I share my my email. Feel free to reach out to me more, and I can just share a lot of other stats and statistics that we have from that RCT that we did. Randomized
Well,
control.
that was that's impressive stats, I would say, and I feel like in the type of work you're doing, it's a lot more qualitative results. And so it may not always show up in the numbers, but you did have says, are the organizations that are those organizations, how do they contribute to, or do they contribute to the Ready for Reentry?
I'm sorry, I didn't really hear your your connection is
Okay.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
Erica, your internet is lagging. And so I think that was a question that I posed. On your website, you have a listing, it's a program directory of all of these organizations that are
Yeah.
how are they connected to Ready? Are those your collaborative partners, or and how do they contribute to the reentry space?
Yeah, great question. So Ready Chicago is a program that Heartland Alliance like oversees. So it's kind of like the funder, right? A lot of the funding comes from Heartland Alliance. However, Heartland Alliance doesn't know what the community needs. Community needs are, right? And so we look for people that are on the ground in those communities doing the work and have been doing the work with that community. So we partner with those organizations that's already there. And so we have, as mentioned, we are in Inglewood, so we have Centers for New Horizon as well as Ready Inglewood Outreach. And so in each community, they have a transitional jobs partner and an outreach partner. And so, as I mentioned earlier, outreach is the one who's going out finding them, supporting them through this whole process as they begin to walk this journey. And the TJ partner is the one who's providing like the cognitive behavior interventions and the job trainings and stuff like that. So we have two organizations in each community working together. So Center for New Horizons is the TJ partner in Inglewood, and Ready Inglewood Outreach is the outreach partner. And then we have in North Lawndale, we also have North Lawndale Employment Network as the TJ partner, and then UCAN as the outreach organization there. And then finally in Austin, West Garfield, which is technically two communities, but they're so close together, we kind of put them together. There is Heartland Human Care Services and the Institute of Nonviolence Chicago as the outreach organization. So each community has someone on the ground that's been doing work in that community. They know what that community needs, the needs are, and Heartland Alliance is kind of just fun. I'm sorry, my kids, I apologize.
We all know what
that's live TV, okay?
Okay, we all know what that part is like. With the kids coming in.
My apologies, y'all.
Okay.
I told them to stay in the back this whole time.
They did good. They
did. They got 7 more minutes, okay?
I was gonna say, we gotta commend those babies. They did good.
They did good.
5 minutes. Okay. So yeah, my apologies, everyone. But those are the people the partners that you see online. Those are the partners that are doing the services. Heartland Alliance is like oversees it. So we have people there that have, of course, positions that kind of go out and provide like technical assistance to those different organizations, help build the funding and all of that. And how it translates to Ready Chicago, it's Ready for Reentry. We use, we kind of like, what's it called? Mooch off of Ready Chicago services, because it's like, okay, what teachings and learnings and all of that can you provide us, right? So we don't I guess we're in a place where we didn't start exactly from scratch because we had all of that teaching and understanding and build out a framework from Ready Chicago. And so we, again, if it's standard operating procedures of how do you do this or do this, we kind of can modify it for our program, but they support us in that way as well.
Great. That was great. I want to piggyback, and then Erica, shoot the question over to Frazana. I don't know if she's on that page to ask Ruby Gill's question, but shoot that question over to her if you're still having internet lagging issues, okay? All right. My question also is twofold, piggybacking off of the last one. I want us to stay connected. There are a lot of organizational ties, I think, that would be great on a collaborative level. We're not far from Chicago. We want to be able to support you guys, talk you up, bring folks on the show, talk about the collaboration, because there was over, I think, almost 75 organizations on that page. Secondly, do you have any plans for expanding this model beyond Chicago? St. Louis could use it. Atlanta could use it. Memphis could definitely use it. So I'll let you answer.
Yeah, good question there. So briefly, the other people that's on that page that you see, those other organizations, a lot of those are our funders as well. So you'll see a lot of foundations and private funders on there that, again, sometimes just acknowledging them there is sufficient enough, right? So we include them on the website. And as far as providing like technical assistance and, just our learnings and our teachings and just kind of helping another city provide a Ready like Chicago program there, because every community and city is going to needs are going to be a little bit different. We also do that, and so we have a national team that works with other cities that go out and see, okay, what's the other cities pretty much invite us in, like, to learn from, like, hey, I see what you all are doing in Chicago. Our city can also use something like this. How can we, learn from you? And so we have our Ready Chicago staff, some of the 2A team, as well as the national Ready National Center goes out and provides that support and see what's there. So if it's like, for example, I do know that we're in Philly. We have been doing some work there to see how we can, again, help that city strengthen some of their violence prevention work. So yeah, we definitely offer those services. And again, if anyone and you all in St. Louis wants to reach out to me, I can definitely connect you to the individuals that will get that conversation started.
Okay, I'll connect with you. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Thank you. Do we have the question for the remaining questions from Facebook?
Yeah, I know you kind of already went into this, but someone is asking if your funding is from private supporters, government sources, or grants.
All the above. So all the above. We have a lot of private donations, of course, to support. A lot of the work has actually been private funded. But however, we apply for grants, and we do have some DOJ, Department of Justice funding as well. So yeah, but majority of the funding that we've had has been private. But we are looking to get more public, because this is a public what's it called? A public, not service, but I'm kind of thinking of the word. This is a public issue. I can't think of the word, right? And so it's not just like, okay, it's that community, or this is just violence. This is violence is affecting everyone. And so how can we, tap into maybe some of that government money to help expand the services that we can provide.
Great. And then someone wants to know how we can integrate the reentry program within prison for those nearing the end of their sentence. And how can we ensure a job after release?
Can you repeat that question one more time? Make sure I'm hearing
Yeah.
it.
How can we integrate the reentry program within prison for those nearing the end of their sentence? And how can we ensure a job after release?
Yeah, so that's exactly what Ready for Reentry is. We work with those who are 6 months from release. Again, we only target a certain individuals in there because our mission is gun violence and not everyone is prone to be involved in guns, right? And so that's what Ready for Reentry does. We help them towards the end of their sentence and help them with build the skills, build the capacity to understand, especially with the job readiness, because not only do we do, again, the cognitive behavior intervention groups, we do the job readiness groups while they're in there, helping them understand like resume writing, interviewing, mock interviewing, understanding a lot of it's like how to navigate on the job, deal with supervisor, coworkers, whatever it is that, because a lot of it's not getting a job, it's keeping a job, we found, right? So a lot of even though there's a lot of barriers to getting a job, most people can probably get a job, but then a couple weeks later, they don't got it because this and that. So we do a lot of work in helping them kind of navigate the workforce, right? It's like, you're going to come every job, you're going to have some issues. You can't just quit or not show up or whatever, right? So we really, really help them understand that. And then when they get back to Chicago, we have an employment specialist. We have staff there that's their job, is to do employment. And so we already know what their interests are. We've been working with them for 6 months. So we know what they want to do. We know what their capabilities and the skills. And so therefore we connect them to the program, to the jobs or employers that will also work with our guys, because we do a lot of work on that end as well, is, not asking, I guess you could say asking employers like to give our guys a chance, like, advocating for them, because sometimes it's just like, we don't want to touch those type of people. So we do a lot of work in that realm too.
Great. All right, we're at the 11 o'clock hour. I mean, we could keep going. It's 11:01. We're supposed to close out about 3 minutes ago. However, I want to make sure we do one last call. Are there any other questions that we need to address? Okay. All right, great. Awesome questions, y'all. We've got a lot of activity on Facebook too. And a lot of great comments about how informative this episode has been. Kwanda, I'm going to turn it back over to you to close us out. And I want to thank everyone for joining us for our very first episode of season 6. Kwanda, it's on you.
All right. Thank everybody. The questions were really, really, really good. Even all of the ones that was coming from Facebook, you guys were super interactive. Okay, I just got to thank you again for saving my life. And this was a really, really good episode. I'm just going to ask you to give your information one more time, just to make sure that everybody got it, for whenever they want to reach out, however they want to reach out. And guys, everybody go out, get some volunteers. We need mentors. We need those peer leaders. Let's get those. Let's help them. Let's try to make this bigger. It's definitely it's time to get it on a big scale.
Yep, I agree. So yeah, you all can reach me at R as in Romeo, Pullums, my last name, P as in Panther, ULLUM as in Mary, S as in Sam, at heartlandalliance.org. And that's RPULLUMS at heartlandalliance.org. All
right. Thank you so much for joining us for season 6, episode 1. We will be back on next Saturday, 10 a.m. Facebook Live for episode 2. And I want to thank you for joining us. Make it a great day. Enjoy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.